Welcome back to another Beyond Awesome, where we talk to Beyond Awesome people, talk about Beyond Awesome topics. Pumped about our guest today, Greg. But before I get to you, Greg, Heather, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jason. What about you?
If it was Friday, I'd be beyond awesome, but it's Tuesday, so I'm just beyond awesome. But it's still good, right? So, Greg, this is about you, man. I'm really pumped to have you on the show today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on Beyond Awesome.
Oh, we love it, man. So let's get into this. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a big fan personally of movies, music, all musics, all the way to mostly heavy rock and roll, but I definitely span the whole gamut. Love my family and love to have a lot of fun in really the section of making people smile and making people laugh. So I try to incorporate humor as much as possible into my day. And with my customer, my peers, my family, everyone. It's good to smile. It's good to laugh. There's a great quote I know, which is, being silly is you in a natural state, and being serious is something you have to do until you can be silly again. So that's where I'm at.
I like it.
So I always get I get a hard time from a lot of people because they say I'm too positive.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to live. So
yeah, that's right.
I like how you said the silly thing. At the end of the day, my cheeks hurt from smiling. That's a good day, right?
It's a great day.
It's a good day. I don't
Fantastic.
understand.
Love it.
So let me ask you about the music thing, and we'll get to the movie thing in a minute.
Fire away.
Do you like heavy metal?
I do like, it just depends. So I like Judas Priest, some of the old heavy metal, the newer heavy metal, not as much, but definitely dabbled in the, all the way back to the Judas Priest, etc. So yeah.
Any Rob Zombie in there?
Go ahead.
I was saying, any Rob Zombie in there? Rob Zombie and Korn was my first concert, so.
Really? What was your first concert, Jason?
Okay, you're gonna laugh, right? But I don't care. Boys to Men.
Oh boy.
I've seen them. They are awesome.
That's my number one group.
I'm not surprised.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
People do you like boy bands? I'm like, yeah. And I'm not ashamed.
Right.
But the reason I bring up the
is
metal
that where the hairstyle first? Is that where the hairstyle started? Was the concert?
What?
I'm gonna have that hairstyle forever.
Yeah, you're the first one that's asked that in a long time. So when I used to have spiky hair as a younger guy, and then I started doing the part cut, and then one time it was really fluffy and high. And someone's like, man, that is incredibly high. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing that from now on. That's the same reason I wear a pocket square. Same reason I do a lot of things. I lean into everything in my life because I just make everything a positive. Doesn't matter what it is.
Perfect.
And I tried to lower my hair, and Heather and a couple of people are like, no, it's kind of weird with you having not really high hair, like hitting the ceiling, right? Even Randy's like, that's kind of who you are. But the reason I bring up the metal thing is we actually have a rock star at Bitdefender. His name's Dennis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you know Dennis, right? So he was actually a rock star, heavy metal in Europe. Yeah, so you might want to check
open for Metallica.
Yeah,
nice.
So incredible, man.
Awesome.
The things we learn on this is just outstanding. So tell me about your family a little bit. You said you love your family.
Yes.
Who are they? Yeah, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, my wife I've been married to her for quite some time. And as I was telling Heather before we started this recording, that as long as I stay funny and making money, she stays with me. So if anyone has any jokes, send them in because I want to extend our marriage as long as possible. She's amazing. She's a dancer. She was tap, jazz, and ballet her whole life. And then she did Broadway national tours of West Side Story and a chorus line and all that stuff. Is kind of like a savant, like Good Will Hunting, where, if you show, in a tryout, if you show her the combination, she'll do it back to you better than you showed her the first time. Just one of those freaks from outer space. And that's why every show she tried out for, she made, and her kids that she's taught over the years have gone on to dance with Beyonce and all over the United States and stuff like that. So, and I have 2 left feet. So, one day I was like, I can do this easy. And so she let me go into an adult's beginner class, and I was bounced out of the class within 45 minutes. And just barred, they have a picture of me in front of the studio. If this person even approaches the studio, he's so uncoordinated. Turn him around. Just get him out of there. And then we have an only child, Joshua, who is in his second or no, his third year at Trinity University down in San Antonio. Trinity University happens to be a full Bitdefender customer. Boo, boo.
Love it.
Love it. And we have a testimonial. They're awesome. They're so happy with Bitdefender. And he is a long distance runner. One of those freaks that, you know, runs 365, 24/7, no matter snow, winter, you know, heat. And so he's on the cross country team, the track and field team. He plays in their orchestra, violin, and he's also a pre-med student. So he's quite busy.
Whoa.
So
Wow.
I'm totally
Underachiever, I can tell.
totally ashamed of him. Every day I'm like, you
Totally
know,
ashamed of him.
you could do better. You could do better. And I mean, I'm just like, you know, I just shake my head and just roll my eyes and walk away, you know.
When
So.
you were talking about doing the dancing and you're like, I can do that, you know,
Yeah.
anything you can do, I can do better. And your wife's like,
Right.
no, you can't. And you're like,
No, you
yes, I can. And your wife's like, no, you can't.
No, you- no,
That's
you-
what was thinking in my head while you were talking. So it's
Yeah.
so funny.
I try.
So tell us something that people would be not shocked, but maybe not know about you.
That it's funny. People think because I'm so, you know, outwardly like everything is out there with me, just like, you know, you, Jason, that's how I operate, you know, 24/7, 365. And I'm actually a quiet person. You know, I'm a little bit of a hermit. People would think that it's just like my home is like Willy Wonka's factory and there's all stuff going on and it's just like crazy and it's not. So I'm kind of the exact opposite. When I'm not interacting with people, I like to just relax, listen to music, watch a good movie, and just really, I'd prefer to be a homebody than to be out, you know, socializing. But that doesn't mean I don't love, you know, when I'm with people to do what I do and you do and Heather does best. So that's a little secret. Don't tell anyone.
I'm pretty
Except the
spot on with
viewers
that.
of this one. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing
Exactly.
is, I'm very outgoing, you know, just like you, right? I'm out there, I'm on the stage, I want the interaction. My drug is attention, getting people to work together and, you know, just to partners and all that kind of stuff. But my kids are like, but Dad, you're very different at home. I'm like, yeah, that's when I get to let my hair down.
Exactly.
Right? So I get to like close my doors and go and do my own thing. So it's kind of funny. I never really thought about that, but I do like to stay at home because I've traveled so much in my life. I just want to spend time with my family. They want to go out to dinner. I've been to a million dinners more than them, right? So it's like
Right.
you got to combo that.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your favorite movie? Because I'm a huge movie guy too.
Okay, so it's always hard, and I would say, for me, you know, Godfather 1 and 2 goes without saying. So just like that's kind of like that's the way
That's
it
an
is.
easy
So
out.
that's
Yeah,
an
yeah.
easy out. So
Yeah.
I would go, since I like to be inspired. I'll use the category most inspirational. And for me, it's
Okay.
the movie Glory. It just is so inspirational. If you haven't seen it, go see it, or not go see it, rent it, download
Read
it,
it,
stream
watch
it.
it.
Yeah, but it is a true story and inspirational. Nothing's more inspirational than when it's also a true story. So it is incredible. And that was Denzel's first Academy Award. Just a little
Absolutely.
tidbit of information, which he clearly earned for sure. And he wasn't even a name then.
Yeah, that's incredible. Okay, so the last thing I'll ask is, what do you love about working at Bitdefender? And there's no right answer.
Well, there's no right answer, no pressure there. So, you know, the thing I love about Bitdefender is the collaboration. I think, you know, being able to, you know, connect with the people that we connect with, to find a commonality between us all, to bring us all together on the same page, and to drive forward as one is such a great experience. And the bumps and the bruises and the fun and the laughs that you have on the way really is inspirational. I have my marketing rep that is tied to my hip is Jenna, who you all know, and we've worked so tightly together. We have now coined the term Mr. and Mrs. Smith Defender as our name. And so we have, there's, you know, doing QBRs and stuff. There's pictures of us, like, you know, Brad, Jelena doing their thing, and Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So I mean, that's how close we are as far as working together, and you know what you get out of some of these relationships. So, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Smith Defender evolved from the great relationships that we forged here at Bitdefender.
So you get to keep that title. I do have a quick little story. My daughter's boyfriend, yes, that's happening. He came in and he kept asking my daughter, "What does your parents do?" They kind of remind me of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Are they like spies or something? So,
That's awesome.
But the fact that they brought that up and then you just brought that up, I'm like, no, farthest from the truth. But yes, I love that analogy. But I love the Mr. and Mrs. Smith Bitdefender. How did you say it?
Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Smith Defender, right? Smith Defender.
Love that's awesome, man. That's
Yeah.
very, very cool.
Yeah.
All right, that's how I'm going to remember you guys now. And I couldn't agree more because Heather's my marketing leader globally and at the hip, and we talk every day, probably more than people realize, is what I would say. All right, go ahead, Heather.
Okay, so I'm going to throw the easy ones / hard ones at you. So
Fair
my
enough.
first one is around how do you actually manage, and I call it, it's sort of the introverted extrovert, which is what I am. I think a lot of people struggle with that when you're a natural introvert, but your job is to be in front of people. How did you get past that?
It's just having the conversations. You know, for me, it's, I mentioned it earlier, is finding some commonality. You can always find something in common, whether it's, you know, Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings or sports or an experience or a place you've gone. And so once you find something in common with someone, you make a connection. And so once you have a connection, then, you know, you can get people on the same page, you can get them to do anything. And then if you wrap it around with humor and fun and drive, that kind of inspires people to go forward. And so it just comes naturally, and it really starts with finding that commonality. And so, you know, when I walk into a room, it's still, you know, full of people, it's still just as intimidating, but I know I'm going to get through it because I'm going to start knocking down those barriers by having those conversations, and then it's a ball.
Nice. I completely agree with that. Backstory, I used to have to drink before I would get on stage, and then I realized that life is really bad. But then I realized that it really isn't, nobody's looking at you in that way. Like, it's just a conversation. And I think once you kind of realize that you're just having a conversation with people, it's so much easier.
Did you say you're an introvert?
Oh, I'm a complete introvert.
I don't know if you know what the definition of introvert is.
I fake it. I'm an introverted extrovert. So
You know, it's funny
Okay.
is you know, you said you have to drink to get on stage. So people assume that I'm loaded up on caffeine and stuff like that. I've never had a cup of coffee in my life. I don't drink colas or anything like that. I mean, if I were to have a cup of coffee, literally they'd have to peel me off the ceiling. So all this is natural fuel, which is just nuts.
Okay, I'm gonna call myself out. Mine is not, well, I have it naturally like you do,
Yeah.
the energetic and outgoing, and then I pile a whole bunch of caffeine on top of it. I'm trying
No.
to stop, but I'm telling you right now, I'm on my third cup of coffee, and I don't see the end in sight. Let's just put it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, that's nuts. I can't imagine myself. That's like gremlins. You don't feed them after 12 o'clock. You don't give people like you and I caffeine. Yeah.
Heather, I got to share this because this is the first time this come up. When I was a CTO for a hedge fund. Very interesting job. Learned a lot of stuff about portfolio and portfolio management. But what had happened was the Red Bull fridge was right next to my desk for the whole portfolio office, right? So I'd have 2 or 3 or 4 of those a day, Red Bull. I'm not done.
Yeah.
And then every single time the CEO of the company would come in and goes, "Who wants a coffee?" Because Starbucks and Pete's was like 2 minutes down this way. It was in State Street, Santa Barbara. I'd say yes. So when I look back at that, I don't know how my heart didn't explode. I don't know how I'm still alive, but I drank on average 4 Red Bulls and 2 coffees a day.
that's a lot.
Insanity.
So I'm still here,
boy.
but I don't do it
Yeah.
that bad anymore.
Right,
I promise
right.
you guys.
Okay.
I think if we listen closely, we can hear his heart shouting out for help. Yeah.
Oh, completely.
I'm sure it's not enlarged or anything. Yeah.
So my last question for you is around collaboration. So I know you and Jenna work really closely, but you're also incredibly close with the partner you manage. So when you go into those partner relationships, what do you do to build trust with them that somebody else that's trying to do the same thing could replicate?
Yeah, you know, I do that. You know, what I told you about the, you know, the base foundation for the commonality connections, stuff like that. And then you know, I really try to understand what their objectives and goals are and what's hindering them, but also to understand what level they're at as far as how they understand, the security landscape, for example. And so I don't talk over their head. I don't kill them with, 1,000 bits of information. So with sales, I know that they don't want to become experts because they have 500 or 600 different partners or vendors that they have to keep up with. And so what my job is to do is allow them to be excellent at qualifying and capturing. And so that's what I do. And it's really, if I can get them to have their antennas up, to hear the right things and to grab it, that is the achievement, as opposed to going in and trying to make them, Bitdefender experts. And then, of course, teaming up with them, making sure that we are there, by their side as a partner, offering, not only our sales expertise, but our engineering expertise, to where they feel confident that we've got their back, and just enable them with everything they need to really knock things down. And then obviously make it fun and exciting. I told you I'm a big movie buff, and everything that comes out of my mouth is from a movie just fused together. So it's just, so it keeps things light and fun. My wife, one time we were watching a movie, and she's like, you that's from this movie. I thought that was from you. And just we've had these moments time after time again. So she's accepted now that I'm a giant adapted screenplay. But that really, also makes it fun and puts a smile on people's faces. If I can go in, and walk, and work with someone and walk away, and there's a smile on their face or they're laughing, but they understand their objectives and they're fired up to go after it, then all boxes are checked. And that's what I set out to do every day when I'm at a partner site.
It's a people business, right? And
yeah,
like you said, find common ground. Here's a couple things I want to point out that you just said, that this is how I work every single day. I want to know what their success means. What does that mean to them working with us? Yep. Listening to them, not just spouting at them, which you also said. Right. And then also taking action from what we heard to help them. Mm-hmm. And this all encompasses caring. And a lot of people are like, well, of course you care because you want to make a deal. No, most of us are not in this business just to make money. We're here to help people enhance their cybersecurity, help their business, lock them down, make sure that they're comfortable going to bed at night so their assets are protected, all that deal, right? But at the end of the day, all this comes down to people and right. making sure that we're there for them. So I love how you put that, Greg, and I just want to highlight that's exactly how I approach it.
Yep. And by the way, that adapted screenplay helped me in my growth, not just for the movies, but when I've learned over the years, when people come to me and say, hey, I want to mentor with someone, I want to do this, and I'll tell them, no one is great at everything, but everyone is great at something. And so find that something that each person is great at and grab that from them, and then lay it all down and then swizzle it and give it your spin to it. And you'll be amazed at what you can achieve by doing that. And that's kind of led to my other half of the adapted screenplay.
I had a CEO early in my life at Nova Coast. His name's Paul Anderson. And he made a comment to me to the group. It wasn't actually towards me, but I took it to heart. He said, lots of people will tell you to focus on your weaknesses. I'm telling you, do not focus on your weaknesses. Focus on your strengths, enhance your strengths, build a team around you that fills in the gaps of your weaknesses. And that's what teamwork is. And Absolutely. When he said that to me, man, I was like 20, maybe 21 at the most. And I was like, that makes so much sense, right? Because everybody, when you're young, like in sports, your kids are doing stuff, or in school, you're like, work on what you're not good at, right? Your math grade is like an A, get it to an A+, whatever, right? Yep. And you focus. But then you get into the real world, and it's like you said, nobody's great at everything, but everyone is great at something. I love that statement because it's so true. I know my shortcomings 1,000,000%. Yep. I can write them down for you right now, easily. Yep. And when you can self-evaluate yourself and you can work on your strengths and help enhance the team, can't fail, right? Can't fail.
Absolutely. Surround yourself with experts and utilize everyone's different personalities and assets as one and bring them forward. It works for the X-Men. Gotta work for that. Come on. Absolutely.
I love it. Heather, was that all you had for Greg today?
That was. I'm done.
All right, Greg, that was an awesome one. Did you have anything else you wanted to share before we close it out today?
No, just, enjoy working for Bitdefender, enjoy this session, and never give up on yourself, never give up on people. And if you stay at it, good things will always happen.
I love that. Thank you, Greg, so much for taking the time out of your busy day. Heather, thank you for making this happen and being a true partner in this. And thank you for everybody else that took their time to listen. You're probably a pretty awesome person. reach out to Heather and I. We'd love to have you on. Like we keep saying and keep threatening, we're going to start doing some panels. We're going to have some topics, subjects, pull people in from different Beyond Awesomes. But again, we'd like to get your name out there. And the last thing I'll say, like I always say every time I end this, go out and do something positive. It could be the smallest thing in the world, you know, helping someone at the store or buying someone Starbucks behind you or just helping carry groceries. It's going to make you feel better, the people around you feel better, and we're just going to live in a better place. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.